Yo, yo, what up? Here we are again. Oh. Oh. Going to work on my programming language. Cast. Oop. All right. I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to work on today yet. Figure it out in a second. I'll just open the project. Let's see. What do we have here? I might just be fixing some small things here and there that are not working correctly, but the short-term goal anyway is to make the guessing number game, right? So we have the guessing number game. So far I have generated the random number from 0 to 10, right? I've been printing things and I've been inputting the number that was there. Right, so welcome to the guessing number game. The number has been guessed. Guess 5, and then we exit, right? So what I want here is I want to make sure that we can compare things, right? That's actually why we wanted the macros. That is the last thing that I did, right? Because the next thing that I want to say is see if guess. Let's say that this should be picked number, right? Not guessed number. So this is my guess. This is the picked number. So if guess is less than the picked number, then we do one thing, right? Then print less. Else if guess is more than picked, then print greater. Else print you guessed. All right, so this is the thing, right? This doesn't work right now. It says also trying to compile error node, right? So what is actually happening here? What's happening is that this is an error node because the less than is a thing that is not even expected to be there, right? Unexpected less than was actually skipped. Wait a second, what actually is happening here? Because like I can have this as a function, right? This kind of should work. And then this, yeah, like, yeah, this actually is parsed successfully. Should you not be skipping these things then? It said skipping unexpected, right? And then there was the unexpected picked still. So I think it was skipped, but not in the correct place or something. Alright, anyway, this is incorrect syntax. I'm not going to worry too much about this stuff. But let's just make it work by introducing the syntax for the less than and greater than, right? So we have the default syntax rules specified over here. And I'm going to have some operators here for the comparisons. So comparison should be higher priority than the Boolean operators like AND and OR, but it should be lower priority than the math operators, right? So somewhere in the middle here. Syntax, less. Okay, so like 14, I guess. So it is just underscore less than score, like this. And this operator is not associative, I think, right? Yeah. So have less, less than equal, equal, not equal, more than or equal, and more. Less, less than or equal, equal, not equal, or like this. Okay. So now this doesn't actually compile because now it's saying that the less than, even although the syntax is there, the syntax exists. It actually doesn't. It doesn't have a meaning yet, so we must implement it first, right? Yeah, condition must be bool, but we got error. There you go. So this doesn't work because this must be implemented. How do we implement it? Let's go into the standard library and standard syntax. I have implemented the pipe, but I can also implement the syntax of all of the operators, right? So yeah, and also I did make the thing where I can implement the syntax in two ways. So we can refer to it by the name here, and then just give it the function as an argument, or I can just say implement syntax a less than b as std compare class a and b, like this. So it means that a less than b is going to be rewritten into this. So we're just going to call a function like that with two arguments, and that's all. I'm going to do the same for all the operators here. So less than or equal, less or equal, equal, not equal, greater or equal, greater. Yesterday I told the Rust Discord server the same thing. I got soft banned and then banned again. The same thing that you told me yesterday on the stream where Rust is garbage because of the borrow checker. Yeah, you're just wrong, you know? You're just wrong. That doesn't make it garbage. It makes it good. Garbage is when you have garbage collector, right? If you don't have garbage collector, it means you don't have garbage, you know? Overcomplicated for this little kid. It serves a purpose, but you can always work around it. You can use optional garbage collector even in Rust if you really want. Basically, no one is doing that, but there are crates that implement garbage collection. Here's one of them. It's called Dumpster. Concurrent garbage collector with an easy-to-use API. You just say that instead of like, you know, it's just that you use garbage collected cell with data. It's a little bit more verbose, I guess, than your normal programming languages with garbage collectors, because you are opting in instead of this being the default. Or you can use the reference counting instead. Like, you just explicitly specify your choices, or you can try to use the lifetimes, but it's not necessary. You can move the things to the heap like all the other languages do. Just explicitly say so if you want. Okay, field CMP is not there. Since now the less than is being rewritten into std CMP less, it means that we need. It means that we need the module CMP. Like this. Why does it not format here? Did you move the whole language to a camel? Yes. I don't have a problem with Rust's borrow checker. The only problem that I have is the Rust compile times. Otherwise, Rust is better than OCaml. File exceptions. CMP, no such file or directory. That's right. Okay. There we go. How are you writing your own language in your own language? I'm not writing my own language in my own language, not yet. I will be, but no, I'm not doing that yet. The language is just starting to appear. You see, like, my standard library barely has anything. I just have an int string, conversion between the two, and like a random number, and like printing and reading the line. That's it. All right, let's see. So less is a function. Is a function that takes two integers. And returns a boolean, which means that I need to have booleans now. And this is native. Less. Like this. And this doesn't work because now why do I crash? Expected type got error. While compiling pattern type ascribe over here. Oh my god, OCaml is so bad. It doesn't even tell me where the exception was raised. It was re-raised over here. I tried to write the language in Rust yesterday, but it became very complicated without AI autocomplete. Boop, 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 boop. So you're saying you cannot write code without AI anymore? Alright, it's because of the type ascribe. What if AI made it complicated? That's right. Hello, Raymarch. Oh my god, I wish my error messages told me the exact line where I was throwing the error, but no. They don't want to do that. Exception. Expected type got error. Expected type. Right. It's because I have value. Expect type, and this thing are panicking. This is the line. Like, why don't I see this line in my stack trace? I hate OCaml. This line is just literally not in the stack trace. Okay. Hello, Nigel. So instead of failing here, what should I do? Well, I mean, technically this function cannot return the type. And this thing cannot return a string, which means that when I'm expecting things, I'm actually expecting this to fail. I feel like these functions should return optional things. So it's either like, right. Just return optional, either return this thing or return none, because it is not the type. Expect string returns optional string, saying that this is not a string otherwise. Expect function returns optional function. Like that. Do you have a girlfriend? What are you asking? Me? Yes, you. Your wife wants to know too? Yeah. I have a child. And a wife. I'm a grown-up man. Alright, expect string. How old are you? Oh, I'm ancient. I'm like... Wait, how old am I? What year is it right now? 25. Hold on, I need to do some math. It's like, something like 33 years, I think. You're 13. Right. I guess that's fine. I guess that is fine. As far as I remember, Twitch TOS says that you are allowed to use Twitch if you are 13. But if you were younger, I would have to ban you. Alright. Option. Some. Okay, so now we have this. Since this is not actually a type, writing Lexer in C because bored at work. You're just allowed to do that at work. Value expect type, and then option unwrap or else. Unwrap or else. Evaluate type. Wait, this one also returns a type. Oh yeah, but the type has the error. Yeah, we have the error type. That's fine. Unwrap or else type inferred T error. Like this. It's not a type. Assembly is much more fun than C. Yeah, I mean, yeah, assembly is fun. I agree. For a little bit. Rate the syntax. Rudy Wiser. Under development. The Wiser programming language. Is it for the wise people? Why is it called Wiser? This is a comment. This is a multi-line. Comment. I'll explain while I'm making my language. So they're making the language because the learning curve of Rust is too steep. You know that there are other languages than Rust, right? You don't have to learn Rust. This over here is weird. There are two ways to import your dependencies in a clean way. First one is to import std star. Then second one is this. This is weird because you use the round brackets and the curly brackets at the same time, which seem to mean the same thing. What's a good sort of alternative for people who are paranoid about compile times? Facet, I think. Isn't Facet Rust like Facet Rust is the new thing, right? Have you tried this yet, Raymarch? But I want something that's like C and C++, but memory safe. Then the Rust. It's too steep. Well, you want memory safety. And you want C and C++. Like, what are the parts of C and C++ that you actually want? Because it's about zero cost abstractions mostly. If you don't care about zero costness, then there are other languages. Like OCaml. OCaml is simple language, for example, or I don't know. Zig. Zig is not memory safe though. I mean, it is better than C, I guess. But yeah, sure. Like, if you think that Rust learning curve is steep, you should probably try Zig. I feel though that, like in my opinion though, instead of trying Zig, there is a better thing which is called D language. D language is just a better version of Zig, because it doesn't lack the features. It's just like the language is weird because, like, I don't know, people just don't use it or something, right? I mean, do people actually use D language? Who even uses D language? Literally like 12 people. Okay. Memory safe lang, bro. Just write safe code. Yeah. Yeah. Who needs types anyway? Just like are you dumb or something? Why would you ever pass the a number to a function that expects a string, right? Just be a better programmer. Then don't do that. and then you don't need static typing at all. Just use Lua or whatever. So you can like learn it in like 5 minutes, the entire language. I saw a tweet from Odin Creator saying DLang has too many features, so it's not nice. Yeah, Odin Creator has also said other things like, well, I mean, I can see like, yeah, but basically, Odin Creator Ginger Bill, right? Is also not using LSPs. He's not using syntax highlighting and stuff. And I have seen people being advocates of that like style too. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys like working without the LSP? Like, why am I even trying to make the LSP for my language? Right? Why do we even need syntax highlighting? Just you can just imagine that all in your head. Are you a bad programmer or something? Why do you even need the help of the editor? So like the idea is that it helps you learn more stuff, as I understand the point of view of the Odin Creator in particular. But it's not just that guy who thinks like that, right? I've seen other people who do the same. Like and even like you can use Vim without any plugins and stuff, right? Like for the same reasons. It's not being a better programmer, it looks pretty so it stays. Actually, needing the editor to even render the text is sign of weakness. You should remember what was in your file. Even if you press a key, do the transformation in your head. Yeah, I saw this like this post the other day. Someone was saying that. I don't know. I don't think I can find it. But yeah. There are people who like the simplicity of not having features. But I just don't agree with that. I think that's wrong. Like, because the problem is that you are going to write the complex programs and you need the tools to help you understand the program easier, which means that it increases your learning curve because you now need to learn the tool that helps you, right? But the program itself, maintaining the program becomes easier. That's my point of view in short. So like, yeah, I don't like pushing the responsibility onto the user of the language. If the language can be responsible for something instead of the programmer, then it should be the language. If the editor can be responsible instead of the user, then it should be the editor that is responsible for doing something. Because you need to focus on like the things that actually matter, which is your program, right? Bam. Oh, Nerdcell. All right, let me do the work here. So we have the path. Path is value expect string. If this is not a string, this is what? This is import. So if I'm trying to import something that is not a string, unwrap or else function, I'm just going to return initialize error and kind, right? Something like that, where the return is going to be like somewhere over here with return. Like that. This one has type span. No, it's not. No, it's not. Why is this thing lying to me? The screen has type span into this, into that. The function application is partial, maybe some is missing. Some people are saying the next perfect programming language is AI. Do you agree with that, Raymarch? I think that AI can be the thing, but not like for a lot of things, for sure. Primogen is right about things less often than Kuviman. I don't know. I know. I'm okay if I'm wrong. Being wrong is fine. Some people are saying some people. Oxent. You cannot wait 50 years. It can be the next 50 years. I need to post my opinion. I can just repost Dijkstra's opinion on the foolishness of natural language programming. In order to make machines significantly easier to read, it has been proposed to design machines that we could instruct on our native tongues. This would admittedly make the machines much more complicated, but it was argued, by letting the machine carry the large share of the burden, life would become easier for us. Sounds sensible, provided you blame the obligation to use a formal symbolism as the source of your difficulties. But is the argument valid? I doubt. Instead of regarding the obligation to use formal symbols as a burden, we should regard the convenience of using them as a privilege. Thanks to them, school children can learn to do what in earlier days only a genius could achieve. I'm not going to read this fully, but I love a snarky Dijkstra quote. It is practically impossible to teach good programming to students that have prior exposure to BASIC. As potential programmers, they are mentally mutilated beyond hope of regeneration. It's just like people have different goals. Some people want to, like, I don't know, to learn and stuff, and some people don't care about that. Why is OCaml being OCaml right now? Let me see. It says that this expression has type A, but expression was tested of type span A. No, it was not expected. I literally said that this must be A. Stupid OCaml. It was not expected to be this type. It was expected to be this type. I even did you the type annotation in 2 places. It's because of this. Over here. OCaml's type inference is bad. I mean, it makes sense why this error happened, but it's not user-friendly at all. Here. I'm not sure if I will be able to do better though, because my inference is kind of like similar for this specifically. It's like, so like over here we have the function return, right? What is the type of this? It doesn't know it yet, but it figures out what the type of this is because of because of how I use this function, right? And because I used it in the incorrect way, it figured out that this is the incorrect type. So it figured out that this function should return not what is written here, but something else. But I think the problem is that it's like going against the annotation here, and it's like ignoring this annotation completely. I don't know. Hello, Davninia. Could we shave, trim the beard, mustache? Yeah, a little bit. Okay, over here, path. The include is the same thing. With return. Like that. Theory of path. Expect string option unwrap or else function return init error span. Same stuff. Hey. No. Wait, did I do the same error again? Span kind. Forgot the kind here. Okay. Okay, what is this? Native. Expect string. Option unwrap or else. Return. Ah. Hmm. Do. You hate rage baiters, but it seems to be very common nowadays if you want to make a living off of YouTube. Any kind of bait is good, I guess. Right? Because you want engagement with the viewers. So rage bait, clickbait. All the baits. 1.2.3.4.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.
1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.
How would I even turn this off? I guess this button maybe.
Plaza no.
Please no. Um, even what he's doing is the only way to succeed on social media. That in itself can still be very bad. All right. So I want over here to return return init error and kind. Yeah, with return. All right, what is that? Name over here is also going to be potentially something else. What is this? This is implementing a syntax. So if a name is unknown. Then name. A default a rule set. I feel like I'm going to match name with some name, then we do that. If it's none, then error. Name must be a string. Name. This can be just name expression data span too. Okay. Expect tuple here, workspace roots. Yeah, I think in this case I can just do option get because I am just trying and catching all of the exceptions. So that's fine. Expect string option get. Function value expect string option get. That current task. I am trying to making guessing number. Work. So guessing number is just like a good example of how to write a program in a language, right? So we were having just generation of the random number, printing and inputting, and now I need to have the comparison operator, so I'm doing the comparison operators right now. Comparison operator is implemented through the macro system now, so this is not a built-in, this is not core syntax, like unlike most of the things that I was doing before, right? So this over here is backed by a macro over here. So a less than b is being rewritten into just me calling a function compare less with two arguments, a and b, right? So there is nothing special about this operator.
Maybe Nigel did it on purpose, but if you switch the K and T of cast, you get back task.
Okay. And then if I restart the language server, then I see some errors. Field greater is not there. Okay, I see that the diagnostics are shown in incorrect places in my language server. But other than that, to do comma type expression. So yeah, over here we have the function that takes two arguments and returns a boolean, and this is a type, and the type expression of a comma is not supported. So let's do that. Or comma. If I have a comma of a type expression over here, so this is going to be a type expression tuple. Type expression tuple. Initialize type expression. That's all that I need to do, but I don't have the type expression, which is a tuple, right? So we need a type expression tuple of a type expression tuple, and type expression tuple is a type expression tuple. Like that. Okay, when I print type expression tuple, we're going to tuple tuple print type expression tuple. Okay. Evaluate type. When I evaluate the type expression tuple, functional programming is weird. What's weird about it? So this is going to be a type, which is a type tuple. Tuple is tuple map. So we have an expression for every field, and we just evaluate that, right? So we just evaluate the type, like that. Weird looking. Is assembly weird looking? I don't think functional programming is weird looking, it's just different a little bit. Your normal programming can be weird looking to a functional programmer. But I mean, the only weird thing about the OCaml, I think, is is about OCaml compared to like your normal languages is that you call the functions without parentheses. Like that's literally the only thing. The other syntax is almost the same. Well, I mean, you don't have the pipe, I guess, in a language like Rust or C++. But I don't know. But you have that in Bash. Is Bash weird? Yes, Bash is weird. Okay, yeah, sure. That was yeah, I agree. Bash is weird. Why do you have triangles in the code? That's weird. Pattern match is not exhaustive. It's initialized type expression. So if I have a type expression, tuple, then what am I even trying to do here? Oh, I'm just saying that this must be a type, right? For the type expression, though, we already know that it's a type. I feel like we don't need to do anything here, because this is a tuple of type expressions specifically. All right, hover LSP type expression tuple. Tuple to sequence find map function expression hover type expression position. Like this code over here, this is literally same as Rust. In Rust, you would just say something like this: tuple dot iterate dot find map. Well, I mean, maybe you just say that Rust is a functional programming language, like, but there are other ways to do that, right? But that's literally how I would write this in Rust, you know? Hover expression position, something like that, is what it would look like. How long should your Rust project? How long should your Rust project be compiled for you to be okay with? 1 second. Are you trying to optimize it? I'm not going back to Rust though, I think. I like the fact that I am... I don't know. I hate OCaml too, but... I don't know. There's no way to going back anymore. I mean, I will go back to Rust to work on the game though. I think what I should try to focus on instead is I will try to focus on like rewriting the language in itself as soon as possible. So we work on the language server and stuff, and we like make sure that it's actually enjoyable to write it. It's kind of already not too bad, I would say. Right? Even though the language barely has any features. How good are the error messages? The error messages are not very good, but they are not very good in OCaml either, so... Does it matter? We can improve them slowly. What if I improve them after the rewrite? In itself. Avoiding mutable references is the brain melter for the object-oriented programmers, since nearly everything is mutation at a distance. Go Haskell. Haskell is compiling even slower than Rust. That's the reason why I didn't do it. Also, when I was trying Haskell, I rage quitted it almost immediately because I really hate like the language server in OCaml sometimes is like needs to be restarted because it's bad, but in Haskell it's even worse. That was my experience. Also, they're like working with records is very bad. Name spacing in Haskell is really bad, so you need to come up with names, and naming is one of the most difficult problems in programming in general, and Haskell makes it even like 10 times more difficult. Because like every field in every type needs to be a different name, otherwise it's a pain. Or you like write with types without naming the fields. I've seen people do that too. But then like I don't know, I don't like that option either. F#. I don't care about GC. GC is not the... I never said that I'm not a fan of GC. I don't care about that.
Shadowing variables is bad. Even Haskell knows this.
Also, global variables are bad, but Haskell doesn't know that because, like, when you define a field in a struct in Haskell, it actually defines a global function with the field name. That's why you cannot have two types with having the same field names. Is OCaml really fast at compiling? Just a rumor? Well, I mean, I guess it's slower than maybe, I don't know. It's maybe slower than Go or something, but it's really fast compared to my Rust experience. Yes. Type expression, tuple. None. Tuple. To sequence. Flat map. Function. Per expression. Inlay hints. For type expression. Expression. Okay, that's done. Okay, now we go guess a number. Now it says that Boolean is not in scope. What is a Boolean? We don't know what a Boolean is. All right. Standard library. We need to say that So we say that boolean is a type which is native boolean. Okay, like this, and then we go to the natives, and I say that we have a type boolean, which is type boolean, like that. Okay, next we have no native less, so we need to also implement the actual function less. All right. Let's have a comparison function. Comparison function. Less. This one should be just for integers. Wait, what is my native right now? It's just a value. Yeah. And a string map. So it's a concrete type. We cannot have polymorphic native yet. It's fine. I'm just going to say comparison function less using less operator. Less than or equal. Equal. Not equal. More than or equal. And more. So Nora on Janet's stream. I've seen Nora on all the streams that I was watching. I think Nora is everywhere. Okay, so comparison function. Name and operator is going to be a native function where argument is int32 for now, not polymorphic. A result, no. Argument is a tuple. Is a tuple with two unnamed fields, which is two int32s. And then the result is equal to a boolean. And name is name, and the implementation is function color value into. So I'm going to say that value must be a tuple So if we have a tuple, then we say tuple unwrap unnamed 2. So arguments a and b is this, and then we just return result boolean is the operator ab, and then we return value boolean result. Okay, tuple. Relatively not everywhere, but I do watch a lot of software and game dev. Yeah. Does that mean you are also everywhere? Well, not everywhere, but I watch a lot of software and game dev. But I'm mostly watching silently. I'm not an active chatter usually. Bum 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 bum. Type function is applied to many arguments because this must be inside parentheses. Tuple. Like that. I mean, I can just match value shape here with value, I guess. Okay. Does this work? Oh, no native less. Right. I said less, right? But this should not be less. I feel like less is like this. There we go. Because that's what I named it in the interpreter. Okay. And then greater is not there. Okay. So less is done, and then we do all of these things. Less or equal. Equal. Not equal. Greater or equal, and greater. Do I need like names here? I could use the row identifier, which I have not implemented yet instead. Ah, it's fine. Okay, so it compiles and it's supposed to be working. So I guess 5 it says greater. It says greater. I also think that the I think OCaml works similar to C, where if you don't initialize your random number generation explicitly, it's going to be the same random number generation every time, right? So this random number that has been picked is always going to be the same, I think. 7, so it's greater than 7. It's greater. Now it's 8. Okay, now we could not parse int 32. Oh, wait, what? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. 8. Greater. 9. Greater. Wait, is it actually 10? Greater. Wait, what? 100. Greater. No way. No. That makes no sense. I was trying to pick a number from 0 to 10. There is no way it's greater. What did I write here? So unseeded seeded RNG. I don't know. It's just like the is that like the part of the C standard library, right? Between 0 and max, and like this is determined by an algorithm, and by default, like it's seeded with like 0 or something. Okay, so what do we have here? Guess less than picked, guess more than picked. So greater. So guess is always more than picked. There's no way. There's no way. And it's specifically about the greater, right? It's not even this thing. Okay. Guess less than picked. Let's just print the number that has been picked. Print. Print. Picked. Int 32 to string. Like that. Yeah, I don't have the left pipe. Let's implement the left pipe too while I'm at it. Is left pipe also supposed to be left associative with the same priority as this pipe? How is that working? Is that correct? implement the syntax. Function argument. Like that. In this case, we can just say farg like that, because it's in the same order. Okay, so I have picked a 1, actually. You guessed. Oh, wait, it was saying greater, and I was... Okay. That makes sense. I was just incorrectly reading the output of my own program. Greater means that not the picked number is greater, but I guessed the number that's greater. Is that how the guessing number works usually? It should probably like say the opposite, right? It should say if the picked number is greater or less than my guess, right? So not not guess less than picked, but picked less than guess. More sense. What the hell is a quote? It's a quote. It's if you're familiar with Lisp, this is the macro system. Let me show you this. I also made a simple REPL of stream so we can do this. So you have you can basically construct code like this, like 2 plus 2 is just the AST representing the adding of 2 and 2, right? Like this. I can assign this to like a variable. X is 2 plus 2, and then X is this, and I can say what is like I don't know, 5 multiplied by X. Right, so 5 multiplied by X is just 5 multiplied by X. But then we use also the unquote operator, which is doing the interpolation. So over here, X is being replaced with the actual value of X over here. So it's going to be 5 multiplied by 2 plus 2, right? And that's how we implement the syntax. Basically, syntax is just a macro that takes the arguments as ASTs and constructs the new AST. So this is just a function that takes 2 arguments, the argument and the function, because that's what pipe is, right? I'm piping function argument into a function, or like in the other way, right? So this could be written as argument into function, like that. And it's just been rewritten into this code. It's similar to the macro system in Lisp, but in Lisp you don't have custom syntax, so you only have the macros. Okay, now we need a loop. Guess a number. Let's comment this out. Let's commit. Guess a number. Press. You're writing cast in cast. Only some parts so far. Like, I mean, there's the standard library, right? So some syntax, for example, can be implemented in the language itself. Yes. Some syntax is core syntax, which is not backed by the macros. So, but this gives you the ability to have custom syntax. Here's an example too, right? Made this example somewhere over here. So you can define a new syntax that you will use just in that program. So in this case, I'm defining a for loop, and then a for loop is being rewritten into this, which is not a real loop in this case. And then I can just use this, right? If we ignore that, so we say for x in 1, 2, 3, we print x like this, and it even like works. So it gives me the inlay hints here, which is nice. Custom syntax, yes. All right, now we need a loop. How do we do a loop? How do we do a loop? So there's ways, right, to do loops. We can do the functional programming style where it's just infinite recursion with tail recursion. Just compile cast with a previous version of cast. Yes. But then it means that the previous version of cast should be able to compile, right? Which it's not yet. So over here, I need to say that we have a loop. I think having a dedicated loop still makes sense. Self-hosting is fun. Yeah. Maybe I will try to do that as soon as possible, like I said. Like a dedicated infinite loop without even any conditions. The other loops then can be implemented using that. So then over here we will break. If I guessed, I'll say break. But break also is a thing that is not going to be hard-coded. So let's start with the loop itself. A loop is just going to do the thing infinitely without any condition and anything. Why is the LSP so slow with detecting changes? I think it's just slow. I think my language is just slow. Is current cast ready for production code? If you're going to write a guessing number game in production, then not yet. Not yet. I'm working towards it. Yeah, it's slow. It's doing all of the old requests in sequence, right? I feel like that like yeah, you see like this line. It feels like it takes about maybe like half a second to process the thing. Well, I mean, technically, what I'm doing here is, yeah, I'm doing something like weird. So like everything over here, this is my like root files that I need that the LSP is supposed to process, and every file over here is actually also parsing the standard library from scratch. Even the standard library parses the standard library before parsing standard library. It's a little cursed right now, but yeah, we're going to fix it. It's going to be better. It's going to be faster. We're going to cache the like the build artifacts or something, or at least like cache them in memory, not in disk. Maybe on disk too would make sense, right? For being more incremental. Why is it that slow while doing that though? I don't know. Maybe there is too many logs. No, not really logs. I don't know. Can I profile? Does it make JavaScript yet? No, not yet. What's the benefits when you start with the package manager instead of the language? That's the benefit. Everything is slow. It's not really a package manager here. Or you mean like, you mean if I start with a package manager? No, package manager is completely like independent thing though, I think. Package manager is independent. So like technically every one of these is separate like package, and every one of these packages, every file has a dependency on the standard library. So when I'm trying to process this thing, it's also processing the dependencies. It's not the job of the package manager to have the to build the dependency on the ones, right? The job of the package manager is just like to resolve the dependencies. You don't like the syntax? Can you make it more bash? Even like change this into just that? Do you not like the triangle? Do you want it just to be a vertical bar?
Nerdsel. Hello.
Hello? Running cast for matter configure. Yeah, it is slow. It is really slow. We need to do something about the speed of the language server. Indeed. There's no core syntax loop. Okay, this has been figured out. We can do the formatting of the loop. Or syntax. Let's do the loops.
Do we need a PlayStation controller in order to put triangles in the source code?
No, the triangle is actually fake. Not a real triangle. It's actually two characters. Magic, right? It's called a ligature. Alright, body, single, unnamed, AST, sure. Okay, if this is an expression, which it must be, right? Loop must be an expression, I'm assuming. Okay. So what do? We have a dedicated expression loop with the body. Being compile expression body. With state being state enter scope initialize expression span. So we have expression loop. With the body being another expression. STDC out, double triangle, hello world. Loop body And loop. Body. Is this? The expression. Body. Yo, Exit Drifter. Hello, hello. Welcome. How was the Haskell? I was watching your stream and seeing the time it took for your Haskell for the pandoc to compile, and you compiled it 10 times, and I was like, okay, that's it's good that I didn't choose Haskell to rewrite my programming language. I was tired of waiting of compilation in my Rust. I'm done. I might switch to Go if OCaml becomes too slow, you know. And now my language is too slow. I already starting to feel it. My language server is thinking for an hour before while I'm typing the characters. I feel actually this is the problem with the VS Code. I feel like VS Code should not spam my language server with the requests if the old requests have not responded yet. Or maybe it is my issue. I don't know. I'm waiting for the day where Kubi starts writing PHP since threading doesn't matter anymore. Expression loop. Hold on, I'm doing loops. I'm betraying my functional programming and doing a loop in my language instead of recursion. This is evaluation. So the evaluation of the loop is very simple. We just say while true. Oh wait, hold on. It's not really betrayal, right? If OCaml does a loop, then I can do a loop too, right? It's fine. Just do evaluate the body like this, right? Yeah. Done. Is this more like bash now bad cop? Are you happy? Look at this. While do done. Literally like bash. Evaluate state body, and then I'm just ignoring this thing, right? But I probably want to do that in a loop, in a new scope. So state is how do I enter scope? Wait, I don't even enter the scope over here, really? That's a bug. What's my state even? It is in scope, yeah. Scope. Was the guest compiler implemented in? I'm writing OCaml right now. but it's not the compiler. It is only in the interpreter. What I have the compiler, what it compiles to the thing that I am calling intermediate representation, but it's not. I think it's I don't know what to call it really. Maybe it is intermediate representation. I don't know. It's like that's what I'm evaluating, right? I have the expression function, expression like apply a function, assign to a variable, a loop, right? What is that? I mean, maybe that is intermediate representation, right? It's not really representing the syntax much anymore, which is why it's not. I'm not calling it AST. Since you want to emit JavaScript, why not just make compiler in JavaScript? Yeah. Right, let me enter the scope here. State. That state is enter scope state. Like this. Just like I'm doing in my compiler. That enter scope state is state with scope is parent is state scope locals is scope locals, say some expression scope be the same here. Ban bad cop. Wait, what? What happened? Who deleted messages? Mod abuse. Initialize. Okay, so if I have an expression loop, the type of the loop expression is just well, I mean, loop is the thing that never returns. It can be literally anything, right? Loop never returns. I will not have a break from the loop. We'll have the breaks on the outside of the loop. Use variable body, and then the body of the loop potentially needs to be a unit, just like after the semicolons, which I'm not doing right now. This probably should be optional. Either a warning. Did you delete this message? Which message? Stop deleting messages? Wait, how do you even delete messages? There's click to reply button. There's pin this message button. There's the ban bad cop button. Bad cop has so many badges. Was the Gone Bananas badge? April Fool's Week 2025, huh? You like those? No, I just clicked on your name. I don't care normally. The badge cop. This one is new. TwitchCon 2025. All right, let me just finish this. If I have the expression loop and I want to hover on it, This is me figuring out the inner stuff, so I'm going to hover expression inner. Like that. Inscription body. And then for the inlay hints, expression loop. I want to show the inlay hints for expression body. Okay. This is all working. Right? Guess a number. 5 greater 4 greater 7 less 6. You guessed. All right. Okay, so now we have the infinite loop. The next step is obviously breaking out of the loop, right? So how do we stop the loop? That's the question. And stopping the loop is going to be done using using exceptions, obviously, because that's what you use exceptions for control flow, right? Yeah, so we need over here to break. But what is it? What even is a break? Look at this language server. Hold on. Do I even work on a break? Look at this thing. Like I type characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it just does it one at a time. Look at this. Look at these squiggly lines slowly going towards the end of this thing. So we have a queue of the requests to the language server. Am I meant to debounce the request to the LSP? Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe is it the job of the language server to do that? Let me figure this out. I think the problem is what are the requests that I am even getting, and to figure that, right? So here's my language server.
Nicecast has 69 stars on GitHub.
Nice. I want like it's basically this this method on doc, right? So this this function is being called every time I change a file. So maybe yeah, so we have notification that the document opened and the document changed, right? And I think that the language server is spamming me with these requests, because that's when I'm actually trying to process the files when any document has been changed. So then I just process. Yeah, I just process the files over here, right? Get state URI content. So what are the contents are coming from here? Content is a part of notification, actually. On notification doc to change. This is implemented inside of this library that I'm using. Notif doc. So these are the virtual methods that are implemented. There is also a notification that document was saved, and I can do processing only on saves, not on every types, kind of. But probably not what I want. What is this async self? Huh? So we receive a notification from the client. A notification is different from a request, right? A notification is something else. Let me read the spec, maybe. Although I want to know the how the library that I'm using is implementing it, because it's doing some things for me already there. Like this is being called over here, right? So we have a notification that text document was changed. Contents changed, C. Content changes is C. Old doc, new doc, apply doc changes, right? So this library is, so technically the language server is just sending me the list of changes to the document. This library is already implementing the applying of the document changes for me, right? So that we actually know the new contents, new state, right? And we also know the old content and the new content. Yeah. Yeah. And what is this notify backs to is what I wonder about. Notification message. Processed notification message must not send a... Oh, a notification is just something that does not send the response back. That makes sense. So request. So notification is like a request without response. That's it. Okay. So change. Text, a document, edit, change. Notification. Where is the list of all notifications? How to read the specification here? Did create file notifications. Document, did change notification. Implementation considerations. Language server usually run in a separate process and clients communicate with them in a synchronous fashion. So I'm not actually doing any async stuff yet, which I could, right? Yeah, like I'm doing the blocking right now is the thing, but I could make my stuff actually async. Additionally, clients usually allowed to interact with the source code even if request results are pending. We recommend the following implementation patterns to avoid the clients apply outdated response result. If a client sends a request to the server and the client state changes in a way that it invalidates the response, it should do the following. Cancel the server request and ignore the result if the result is not useful for the client anymore. If necessary, the client should resend the request. Keep the request running if the client can still make the use of the result by, for example, transforming it to a new result by applying the state change to the result. Servers should therefore not decide by themselves to cancel requests simply due to the fact that the state change notification is detected in the queue. As said, the result could still be useful for clients. Wait, what? If a server detects an internal state change that invalidates the result of a request and execution, the server can error these requests with content modified. If clients receive a client modified error, it generally should not show it in the UI for the end user. Clients can resend the requests if they know how to do so. It should be noted that for all position-based requests, it might be especially hard for clients to recraft a request. A client should not send resolve requests for out-of-date objects. For example, code lenses, etc. If a server receives a resolve, okay, so what I want is I want to cancel. Can I cancel in OCaml like the a thread? it's not really like a thread, but I'm not doing any async, right? So like my stuff is just like very slow. It's blocking, right? Can I just cancel it, or something? Text document did change. Improving LSP responsive. What is this comment? WTF VS Code. Well, let's try to deal with it. What does this even mean? Hash table find opt docs URI none. Oh, so this means that I have received the change to a file for which we never received a request before. Is that why they say what the fuck? Yeah, we have received the change for the unknown document. For some reason, okay. Fine. We apply the document changes. We have the new state. Content is this. Async self. So yeah, we just I think this is just spawning, right? Async means just spawn this async task, probably. Or like, is this like actually a wait? Because this thing itself is async. I don't know. I know it would be nice if the OCaml language server worked in dependencies, but it doesn't. Like, why am I hovering? Am I getting this? This makes no sense. So we have the document has changed. Document has changed. This is the request. And I can skip it. I can skip it if we have any queued processing requests. How about that? Right? Because like I'm receiving too many of these things probably, right? Yeah. Let me. Yeah, yeah, I have the on doc here. So let me just open the output cast language server and then start writing, like guess a number, right? Like over here, I just press enter and I say blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So there is a lot of logs. But it's all because I am receiving the on doc, so like every document change. But I only really care about the last one, right? And all of the intermediate ones should be skipped, I think, is what we want here. That's called debouncing. All right. So what do? I want to store on doc. Unit. So I'm using this library is using the EIO under the hood. EIO from the OCaml. Let's take a look. A camel EIO. Effect-based parallel IO for a camel. Cancellation. Every fiber has a cancellation context. If one of so they have fibers here, right? We have fibers, and we have the cancellation context. If one of the both fiber fails, the other is cancelled. So we have fiber both these, okay. And we have like yielding from inside, sure. So this one fails immediately. So this one is just cancels. There is a tree of cancellation context for each domain. Does the activate Linux disturb me when browsing? I don't know, I got used to it. Racing. Fiber first returns the result of the first fiber finish and canceling the other one. Okay, yeah. I mean, I can just yield, I guess, in some places, which would make it more responsive, right? That's how the Go runtime with the Go routines work, right? You just insert a yield point after, I don't know, in some places, right? That's how they work. I'm pretty sure. That way, we would be able to do that. If I don't yield though, then we don't really, because cancellation can only happen in the yield points, I would assume. Networking, buffered reading and parsing, or handling. Let me see. What do I actually want to write here? So we have the documentation change. So I don't want this. Maybe this specifically. This is the CLI. So this can probably be just spawned into a. This actually can be spawned into a. Into a thread. Yeah. Like, I feel like what I want is to have for the on the LSP server the queue of tasks. Yeah, because this is blocking code and not like written in the async way using EIO itself, right? Because of that, I want it to be spawned. So similar to like Tokyo spawn blocking, for example, in Rust, right? EIO domain manager run. It offloads blocking work to a separate domain. OCaml's version of the operating system thread. EIO domain manager run domain manager function. You get domain manager from your EIO environment like this. Okay. And then this gives me like the this converts it into the async thing. Okay. Caveats. It returns a value synchronously. It blocks the current fiber until the result is ready. What? No. That's not what I want. How long did it take for you to make this? The amazing Photoshop skills. Or did you use AI? Wait, no. This actually looks like you used your own like you use your own like streaming setup, Godot, whatever. Because it seems like this image like is on the same angle as like the windows in your streaming setup. No, it's a Photoshop. All right. Hello, Brainoid. Okay. Boop, 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 beep, boop, beep, boop, 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 boom. Fiber fork. Oh, you mean like it's blocking as in it blocks the fiber. It's not really like blocks the like thread. It blocks the fiber into spawn. Yeah, into fiber fork, right? Which gives me just a handle to the spawn stuff. Okay, that makes sense probably. You should have a clickbait title like I'm vibe coding my own programming language. But I'm not vibe coding. I'm not lying, right? In my titles. I'm not supposed to lie there. Am I? That's not clickbaiting, that just drives people away. People actually hate AI on Twitch? All people? Processing, update file. Okay, we want this to be what? So I want to spawn this off. That's fine. But then we are also going... is OCaml even like thread safe or something? Do I need the logs? There is no such thing as sync and send traits in OCaml, right? So we have this state over here, right? This is a global state reference, right? It's just like this reference that I need to update after processing has been done. I'm not really doing any incremental stuff. So yeah, just new state is this, and state. Okay, the language server doesn't work, by the way, for the objective camel, for actual OCaml. This cannot find the references to that. On request initialized state is that State. And to find state colon equal, right? It's only here on the initialize, but that's not correct. Global state. Workspaces. Oh, it's because I'm updating them there mutably. Right. Like, I just want to skip the request if I know that there is another request incoming, right? That's the only thing that I want to do. So I want to have is it called debouncing, right? How to debounce EIO. What is debouncing? Ignore rapid repeated calls and only execute the latest one after some delay. How to debounce? Immutable reference to the cancelable fiber. A way to cancel the previous fiber on each call. A delay timer. I don't really want a delay though, probably. Fire the real action only if delay finishes uninterrupted. We have a module debounce. And then we call. So we cancel the previous call. T is my current like state. Okay. And then we fork. And then we run. Okay. McDonald's just opened. You mean like it's morning? $5 a.m. Yeah, so over here, I'm also trying to get the state, and get state should only be done. Get state should actually wait for the latest request to finish. That's what we should have. Okay, let's have a debounce module. Here, debounce. Debounce state is something, right? So we have a switch, EIO switch. What's a switch? Switches. A switch is used to group fibers together so that it can be weighted on together. This is a form of structured concurrency. The switch run function switch, fiber fork switch. So switch is a multiple fibers, right? Okay. And cancel is just a function. Create. Cancel is just that. All. Cancel. It's mutable. Yeah, so we update the cancel function. Because we cancel the previous one. Okay, maybe that makes sense. Hold on. Switch is EIO switch, right? Cancel is a function. Like that. Let's copy paste ChatGPT. Actually vibe coding. Create. Oh, this like requires a switch instead of creating a switch. Okay. Sure. Let's see. So we cancel the previous scheduled call. Sure. Then I actually I don't think you want debounce at all. I don't want Don't you just want to immediately start working on whatever the latest one is and throw away the old progress? Yes. Yes, like it's not debouncing if it doesn't have the timer, right? If I don't have the timer, it's not called debouncing then. Let me just see. What's the API that I want? What's the API? I have some state. I have some state. I will say like initialize, which gives me a state, right? And then I will try to like run, right? Run some code, you know, unit like this. Run some function, but only the latest function is the one that we care about, right? Function into result. Yeah, we actually want like to have this. Yeah, we have the state of type A. This one is generic, I think. This one I think is generic, like this. So we'll run for all type A's. We have a function that returns A. And we run this function in the state of A. You lost me when you started writing OCaml, but yeah. um, run function inside of this state. This should just not return anything. This should just return unit. Is like a spawn, right? Spawn. Like that. And then I also want to get the state, right? Get the result of the latest evaluated function. That's what I want, you know. So get from the state, this will give me the latest like get latest result, you know. So we spawn and then we get the latest results, which is like options like this, right? Whenever I think I want debounce, it turns out I don't. Yeah, but what do you call this thing? What you just want to get the latest result, and you ignore the calls that are the requests that are in the middle, that are too slow. Is that not debounce? I have no idea. So the state is actually going to hold the result, which is going to be option. This is going to be mutable, I guess. And it also is going to have the... you don't know if there's a good name for it? Maybe it's debounce. Is it, would it still be called a debounce if I don't need timer? No. If you don't use a timer, it's not debouncing anymore. You're doing something else. Latest only execution. It's more like coalescing. Is that a word? Drop calls is one is already running. Throttling. Now I like call on this, right? We're canceling all tasks and only letting the most recent one run immediately. Coalescing. Come together to form one mass or whole. I don't know. Okay, let's just call it latest state. You know? Let's call it the latest state. Okay, so when I spawn a function, what should this do actually? What should this even do? Should I use... Why don't I use threads here, though? Why don't I just use threads here? Throttle debounce usually means the same functionality, but debouncing is done at the client side and throttling is done at the server side. No. That's bad cop. So I need to like only execute this function. I think something like this, you know, currently executing, boolean, mutable, you know, and then we will also have we'll also have queued. Queued is another function from unit into A, right? Option like this. Don't I just do this? So when I spawn a function, I first see, am I currently being executed, right? So I'm going to match state currently executing. If it's false, then we do one thing. If it's true, then we'll do another thing. So if it's false, then I'm going to start executing immediately, right? And where is this execution is actually going to be happening? Throttling just means limiting how often a thing can happen. Yeah, so it's not throttling. So in this case, I just started executing immediately, right? I start executing immediately, and when we have the result, it's called trailing edge debounce. Trailing edge debounce. You're asking with the leading and trailing options. I mean, isn't it just like debounce but without the milliseconds after the last call? Literally, like, so complete the thought process and invoke the function only after a certain buffer between the actions. Well, I mean, actually, I do want the debounce, maybe. Maybe I actually want to debounce. I don't know. I feel like sometimes we want the delay too. Like you're in the process of typing your code. Should I type check while you are typing or only when you're finished typing? You should just always cancel current request when you get a new one. Yes. So currently executing. So we need to, okay, so that's why we were having the cancel. Right? What does cancel mean? We don't know yet. But first thing that we do is we cancel. Right? So we cancel current. If any, right? Then I start executing the current one. The problem is that like it's not really cancelable. You know? The problem is that it's not really cancelable because it's written in the blocking manner right now. Right? So we have a background task that is working that I cannot just cancel. You know? Is there a thing, you know, Camel, even like in Java you can just stop a thread, right? or something. OCaml kill thread. Is that interrupting a call in OCaml? The only way to interrupt a function is to use a signal. In that case, can you queue the list, the latest one if there is a pending one? That's what I was doing, right? So there is a pending one, and then there is a queued single one, right? So there's pending plus a queue of a single one. So the queue is just an option, and not like the list of the things to do, right? That's what I was going to do. So if there if there is currently executing a thing, then I'm just replacing the queue, right? So state queue is just going to be some f like this, right? So I just replace the queue with this. But if it is not currently being executed, if nothing is being executed currently, then I need to start this to be running in background, right? Yeah. And how do I do that? So we say EIO. We have switches and stuff. EIO times sleep. EIO fiber fork is what we want, right? Fiber fork. There's fork, there's fork daemon, fork promise, and fork sec. What's a promise? Is it like JavaScript? Fork. Fork runs the function in the new fiber, but it does not wait for it to complete. The new fiber is attached to the switch, which cannot finish until the fiber ends. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah, that actually makes sense. So we have the switch. So when I spawn, they should be spawned inside of a switch. So state will contain the switch, which is EIO switch T, right? So switch is a state switch, and we just spawn a function. What the fuck is a fiber? It's the lightweight. It's like a green thread, right? Like a Go routine. This is the equivalent of saying go in Go, right? Think of this. Think of it like this. Every click sets a fixed timeout for a function to be executed. If another click happens before the timeout, the previous timeout is cancelled, and another one is queued. Yeah. I don't really want the timeouts though. Maybe I will, but I don't know. Let's start without the timeouts, because I feel like the LSP should just process it immediately. But for some things, maybe we want the debouncing. But I think the debouncing for the LSP request should happen on the client side, not on the server side. So maybe VS Code is already doing that. I remember seeing some of that in the Monaco editor. Like Monaco has the timeouts for when it starts to show the inlay hints or something. I don't remember exactly. It was somewhere. What does the fork return? Just a unit. Okay, that makes sense. So just fork a function that returns nothing like this. Okay, and inside of this function, what do I do? You love saying go and go. Okay, so we go and we run this code, which is just going to execute the function f, right? And then it's going to say that state result is equal to this, right? To the result of the function. And then I'm going to say that currently executing is false, right? And then we are going to check if there is a queued one, and we're going to spawn it again, right? Check. Well, I mean, actually, you know what? We always say that this one is going to be queued, you know? We always say that this is going to be queued, and then... and then we say, maybe execute, maybe start queued if needed, you know? Something like that. So, start queued if needed. Is just this. So if it's currently executing, then we don't do anything. But if it's not currently executing, then I'm going to say that it is going to be currently executing, right? And then I spawn it, and when it finishes, it's no longer being executed. I'm also going to say over here, I'm also going to say try with this. Actually, not that, right? We're going to have function protect. Finally, it's going to be currently executing is false. Like that. So yeah, this is what we do in the end. In the end, even if the exception happens, we say that state currently executing is false, and then I try to start another one again, right? If you want to type unit, but expression must type unit. Like this. Yeah, and also in the very beginning, let's also have let's open std here and say with return. And I will just say that if state currently executing, then return. I will do that instead. And then we are going to say that let f is state queued. Oh, Camel LSP is loading. Okay, let's restart it. Queued, do it. Oh, it just doesn't work. Oh, Camel language server just doesn't work. Beautiful. Oh, I have the syntax error. Really? Wait, do I? I don't have the syntax error. You're lying to me. Syntax error. Where is the syntax error? I have too many parentheses. This parenthesis is like over there. And this one is over here. No, this is correct. What do you mean syntax error? Kato Camel, it doesn't tell me what's wrong. Anyone sees the syntax error? Oh, I mean over here we have a dot. But I mean, yeah, sure. And then what? As it's a recursive function, so it cannot figure out that it must be like that. Then what? Expression type unit. Why is the formatter not able to format this code? Format document. There is no formatter for a camel file installed. Are you kidding me? I have the formatter installed. There you go. I need to restart a camel language server like 10 times a day. At least. Okay. So F is state queued option unwrap or else function return, right? So if it's none, then we're just going to return, and I'm going to state queued is none, right? It currently executing is true, so I'm going to execute this function, right? Yeah. And then we fork the fiber. But the problem is that this function is not actually a fiber. So this is a blocking operation. So for that, I do switch run, which lets me do that in a new switch, right? Switch run. Switch run is constructing a new switch. Right? EIO switch run. What's run protected? No idea. Run. This takes this switch as an argument. So runs function is in a fresh switch initially on. When function finishes, run waits for all the fibers registered with the switch to finish and then releases all attached resources. A runs function. Can the function be a blocking one? Let's just see if this works already. Probably not though. So spawn just yeah, cancel current just doesn't do anything technically. I'm just going to have it. Queue and start if needed. And get latest result, this one is actually going to wait for the currently executing one, right? To finish. Wait, can I fork, but get the handle? Fork promise is probably the one that I want, right? Fork promise. Fork promise schedules functions to run in a few fiber and returns a promise for its result. This is just a convenience wrapper around fork. If function raises an exception, then the promise is resolved to an error, but switch is not failed. What do you mean it's a convenience function? How do I do it with just a switch? Fiber, get variables, context, make variables, promise, create with ID, promise, resolve, okay. Yeah. So currently executing is going to be an optional promise, I think. EIO promise T of like this promise technically just returns unit. This one is option, right? Okay. So if currently executing option is sum, then return. And then currently executing is sum fork promise, like this. That's a lot of parentheses that I closed there. The expression has type unit promise dot or exception. Oh, because this one is promise or exception. Yeah, they have like two types of promises, right? One that is doing that or throws an exception. Can I make sure that it doesn't throw an exception? Fork promise exception. This is not exposed. On failure, it fails switch, but you need to make sure that any fibers waiting, the promise will be cancelled. Like I'm kind of like handling my exceptions here, right? I mean, sure. Let's say or exception like that. So currently executing, since this has been finished, is going to be none. I feel like this is incorrect. Maybe. Currently executing option. So when I want to get the latest result, I will first see if there is a currently executing thing, right? So match state currently executing. If it is some promise, then I need to await the promise, right? First. If none, then I'm going to do nothing. So if it is some promise, then I need to do EIO promise await. Yeah, right? We just await the promise like this. Await promise is going to give me the result, unit and exception. What other functions are there? Just await or await exception. I guess I want to await exception, which takes the... Yeah, it's going to like throw if the exception is there, right? That's what it's doing. Match await with OK or error. Yes, yes, yes. Sure. Await the inevitable exception. That's not what it is. This is... this is actually await a promise that can fail. But it doesn't mean that that we are waiting for an exception to happen. We're actually waiting for the result. And if the result is an exception, then we're throwing it. Yeah. Okay, and now after this has been awaited, I just return state result, which I'm just storing in an option like this, right? And that's it. Okay, well, this switch is not being used. At all. Which makes me think, do I even need a new switch? Switch runs with a fresh switch, like, but this is technically just a thread. Like a blocking operation, I don't know. Let's see what happens if I do this. So I'm just going to have the latest state. Like this. So instead of having state, which is processing global state, option ref, instead of it being this, we're going to say that this is processing global state, latest state t, which is latest state initialize. Initializing needs to say that switch initialization. Is this switch being used anywhere? I guess yeah, it is. Switch result is none, currently executing is none, viewed is none. There we go. So I will initialize using the current Latest state is Hawaii. Um, so I'm going to initialize this using my my current switch. What is my current switch in EIO? I do EIO main. We have the env, which is EIO environment. Hi Ogma. Hi Pigorli. New LSP server. Is there a way to like get the current switch? How to get switch? You can't. There's no public API from inside of the fiber, and that's intentional. The whole point of structure constraints is that you must pass switches explicitly, because otherwise fibers leak, crash silently, or detach in untraceable spaghetti. So I have the env. Okay. Sure. So I have env. What's env? Env has std in, std out. Domain manager. No. Like I need to run inside of a switch. I guess. LSP server. Yeah, yeah. Like I need to initialize the thing, right? I need to say EIO switch run function like this. Is that what you're saying? So this is my switch now, and I will initialize the LSP using the switch. So LSP server object self. Can I have the argument here, which is switch camel object constructor. How do I add arguments to the object? Over here, name string. It's just over here instead. So I initialize this using switch. That's what you want. So this is EIO switch T, right? Okay. And so get state is instead going to be latest state, get latest result in self state. What? Just state? Resources type global state option, but of global state. Wait, what was here before? Oh, trying to get state before initialize. Yeah. Option get. Spaghetti is very traceable. It's linear. Is this what they mean when they say linear type spaghetti code? The value has type state. State is equal. Yeah, so over here, instead of saying processing init here, we're instead going to say wait, this is all wrong. And wait, this is all wrong anyway. I don't even need to get these states because I'm using mutation underneath there. So the state itself It needs to be initialized here once anyway. So this is still going to be option ref, is ref none, right? But then get state. This over here, update file. This is the one that I need to queue, right? Yeah, so I don't actually get any results from these because this is returning a unit. Yeah. So I just say latest state spawn this thing in the I don't know, updates something. So where updates is just a unit, latest state, t is latest state, init switch, right? So I update, and then when I want to get, yeah, so get state, yeah, and then file state. File state is actually not, yeah, file state is going to wait for all of the updates to be processed, right? So updates, latest state, get latest result. I'm going to ignore that though. Is that right? Let's try running the things. Guess a number. Okay, well, so right now everything is working, right? Now let's start typing. It's so fast it doesn't work anymore. Yes, that's literally what happens. I don't even get the syntax highlighting now. All right. So only the first one works. Get latest result. Let's log here a little bit. Log info spawn log info and up spawn. I feel like I'm not even spawning anything. This guy never used debugger like a noob? I don't know how to debug this. I mean, I need to run it inside of a different VS Code window, maybe. Like, I mean, it's the VS Code who is starting the LSP is the problem, right? So I need to attach to the running process debugger, right? I never done that. I mean, maybe I done it once in Java or something. Wait, does my code not compile? Wait, what? Experience type unit? That expected IoT? There is no way. This thing doesn't even know about anything about the IO. My code is successfully compiling. OCaml LSP is so bad. Restart OCaml LSP. This error doesn't exist. I was trying to get here and see the output of the cast language server. All right. So yeah, we press space on dock. So yeah, I spawned, but it actually. Wait, hold on. No, I spawned, but the files were processed. The end of spawn actually happened. Let X. Wait. What's happening there? Am I never actually sending the results back? So now it's not actually processing anything, by the way. Because it is still thinking that it's running, I'm assuming. Is what's happening. Let me try a restart cast language server. So then I say this. So yeah, there we go. We spawn. We do a bunch of shit. And then what I type another character. Then I don't spawn anymore. So it's like only doing it for the first one. Even though I do see the end of spawn. End of spawn happens, which means that currently executing one is none. Queued is none. Result is this. Cast where the LSP only works one time before you restart it. Yeah. I just never use this library that I'm using here. So I'm probably not understanding something. Let me see here. When I'm trying to... Yeah, I'm probably actually not responding, right? Because I'm trying to get the latest result, and this is just always waiting. Is that what's happening? Log info. Wait. Log info. Waited. Log info. No need to wait. Okay. Let's see. So right now there is no need to wait for my like. So I have the request of the semantic tokens, and there is no need to wait for it. But when I type a character, so it's like processing is starting. Right? And then we say wait, and then we waited, and then we say wait, and then we waited, and then we say wait, and then we waited. Okay, that makes sense. So there is a promise that is actually resolved, but it's not being like, and I'm keeping waiting. And yes, so see, it says wait and waited, even though the promise actually has been resolved, which means that the currently executing one should be none, but it's not none. Why? Why? Well, I mean, I'm going to start queued if needed one there again, but it's not doing it. Let's get this entire output in a file. So we started the cast language server. did a bunch of things. Spawn. So the first spawn happens here when I was changing the file. I started processing this thing. Then the file has been processed, so we say end of spawn. But this is what doesn't make sense to me. If we see end of spawn and then it says wait, this should never happen, right? Because I should only be waiting if I spawned and I did not reach the end of spawn, right? So only in between of spawn and end of spawn, right? Because this is where I start to execute, and this is where I'm setting this to none. Which means that it's never none. Which means that this line of code never executes. Which makes no sense to me. Or is this line of code for some reason executes before or like after this line of code? But there is no way. Let's say this spawning. Spawning and then spawned. Let's just check this. This should return a promise. Right? I think maybe it's because over here I'm actually blocking, right? The entire fiber. So it only is being spawned in the end. So I'm saying that this is none, but then I'm saying that this is some after it has already been finished. Yeah, see, it says spawning. And then end of spawn and then spawned. That's exactly what's happening. So that's the question, right? How do I do the blocking in EIO? EIO. So the ChatGPT was telling that spawn blocking. There's EIO domain manager. It flows the blocking work to a separate domain or account version of the operating system thread. Okay, we need domain manager. Domain. Multi-core support, domain manager. EIO domain manager provides the basic API for spawning domains. For example, let's say they have a CPU incentives task. Right, that's it. That's what is happening. Sum to n. We can use the domain manager to run this as a separate domain. To have a domain manager run inside of this domain manager. Where do I get the domain manager? Domain manager is EIO std of domain manager from the environment. Okay, we have the environment because I have EIO main. Sure. And this is where we get multi-threading bugs, right? This is where we're going to start getting multi-threading bugs. So I spawn a promise, but I don't start a switch here, right? Instead of starting a switch, we say EIO domain manager run. Domain using state domain manager. We run this function, right? So I don't care about the switch. I need a domain manager. Yeah, if I don't care about the switch, I don't need the switch. No, I need the switch for this though. Yeah. Okay. Domain manager EIO domain manager T. Expects one argument. Wait, what? What's the type of this? What is the type of it? What is this? AT. More than TIE. SAR. Module P. Module MGR. Module X. I like the choice of variable names in OCaml. They are so short and easy to read. Okay, run. It says resource T. T ops. What's EIO? It's the Tokyo for OCaml, the async runtime. I mean, I could probably just spawn a thread myself instead of using that. I don't know. What is a domain? It's EIO resource T more than EIO domain manager TIE. I don't understand what this means. T expects one argument. Where's an example of a domain? Like they show me this example, but they say that this should be like, but they use the inferred types here, which makes it ununderstandable, this example. So I guess like we can try to figure out what is the std EIO std like this. Domain manager of the environment, because I do have the main function over here, so I have the environment, right? Domain manager is this. You have domain manager, right? This is a function that returns T hashtag domain manager. What's the type? We can let the OCaml infer the types though, right? Domain manager. Domain manager. Okay, what's the type? The type is A, of course. Spawn. Because this doesn't compile, right? That makes sense. Domain manager. No, I must specify what it is. Okay, I need to figure out what is this function returning. Std env domain manager. This function returns a EIO Unix source. But isn't that dependent on the platform that I'm on right now? So that's not actually what's supposed to be there. And what do you mean source? Is source a domain manager? This makes no sense to me. Domain manager. Returns T domain manager. Underscore. Oh, wait, hold on. I can just do underscore domain manager T, right? So that it is inferred or something, right? Can I just do underscore here? No, we cannot. A type wildcard is not allowed in this type declaration. Okay. Okay. Let's see R. Let's say that it is R here. So it is like actually generic. Type variable is unbound. That doesn't work. Show me an example. An example with domains. ChatGPT. How to spawn CPU intensive task in EIO. What's the type of domain manager that I need? This lets me spawn stuff in the system threads. I need a handle to the domain manager T somehow. I need to, that's not the full type. I need not a handle to the domain manager T. I need a handle to some domain manager. What the heck is env domain manager? std env t. It's from the standard environment. Okay, you know what? I know how to handle this. Instead of handling the domain manager itself here, because I have no idea what the type it is, we are going to have the environment, which is EIO std env t. No, this is also the type constructor. That also doesn't work. This shit is also generic. This thing is also generic, but I can store the abstract polymorphic type like this, right? Or can I not? It still says unbound type constructor. This makes no sense to me. Value domain manager of type EIO domain manager T. This doesn't work. It's generic. This doesn't work. It says type constructor expects one argument. It's a GADT with a phantom region parameter. Because T takes a region parameter. It's actually EIO domain manager TR. Oh wait, hold on. The R is on the right side, not on the left side. That's weird. Underscore. No? How do I store it? Where R is the region you're in, a phantom type parameter that tracks capabilities and resource lifetimes. We have lifetimes in OCaml. Fix your type. In real code, you're usually inside a function like this, environment. Wait, what is this? What is this syntax even? Less than domain manager. EIO stdr. The standard region. If you want a precise type signature, is this EIO domain manager AIO stdr. EIO stdr. The type constructor expects one argument. That's not that doesn't work. Where audio? Which audio? There is audio. Did you turn your audio off? Is there anyone who knows OCaml and who used EIO? This is impossible. The documentation sucks. ChatGPT sucks. Everything sucks. How do I even like use the example that they provide to me of the domain manager over here, right? Like this example is just stupid because it doesn't even like, how do I make this? What's the type of domain manager? How to write this? For the next language, try out Elixir. I promise I love it. I'm promising you I will hate it. I already know that I will hate it. I don't know. There is no way I will not hate Elixir. Is there any actual example which is not in the README, in the little markdown? Let's do a little bit of a thing here. Test ML. We are just going to copy paste this code. Domain manager. Over here. I'm going to copy this code. And then I'm going to copy this code. What is trace ln? Where is this coming from? What is fiber? So the fiber is EIO. Do I just open EIO maybe? Yes, okay. So I just open EIO, this works, right? So we have this. It is working. What is domain manager now? That's here's the type. Can I just copy this and say that this is my type over here? Does this even work? It doesn't work. It says type variable is unbound in this type declaration. The field domain manager. This as a. The variable a is unbound. Write your own async runtime. Like, I cannot store the argument in a data structure. In order to store it, I need to know its type, right? Let's, instead of storing it, pass it as an argument to every function. That's how we store it. We store it in like without naming it, by having it as an argument over here, because that's where I need the domain manager. So I'm going to use the domain manager here. We're going to use type inference instead. Over here. Okay. So the type of this is that, but I cannot store it in a data structure. What even is this? What even is this? What even is the syntax? I need to learn OCaml maybe more a little bit. What even is this syntax in OCaml? Is polymorphic variants and first-class modules. This is a type, specifically the type of a resource handle in EIO. A resource that supports at least this. Polymorphic variant. This part means some variant that includes at least this. Polymorphic variant type. OCaml. Polymorphic variants. Okay. Okay, I understand what a polymorphic variant is, I guess. But polymorphic variant means that it is an abstract type, not a concrete type, right? which is why we cannot store it in a variable. That's literally why. Like, it's a type that I cannot name explicitly because it's an abstract, polymorphic thing, right? So it literally will not work. I need to pass it through the arguments always. Is that what they're saying? Maybe. Okay, so the domain manager is going to be used over here. Right? There you go. I mean, that wasn't that difficult, but like, I'm not sure. Let me ask. Can I store polymorphic variant in a struct in a camel? Yes, but a camel doesn't make it painless. If I use open polymorphic like this, then this also works. But now you've got widening types. And things can spiral if you're not careful. Say goodbye to the nice exhaustlessness checks. You want to parameterize it? Not this. Variant, you mad? Don't try this. And this is what I was trying to do, right? Be careful with open types. But I have like, I don't know. Let's see if it works. Restart language server. I think it doesn't. Wait, why is some of it purple and some of it not? Oh, because if is in the thing, yeah. Spawning, spawned, wait, end of spawn. No need to wait, no need to wait, no need to wait. So I started waiting and then I never finished waiting though now, right? Is that what's happening? So we have the yeah, we don't have waited in the output now for some reason. Waited. There is no waited. There is wait, but there is no waited. So I'm not responding to some of the requests. How do I respond? We need to await a promise. Promise is run inside a domain manager. Domain manager runs a function. This function has successfully finished. Right? Oh, and wait, hold on. But this one is queuing. Wait, this one is skewing the rest from the inside. This is also wrong, by the way, because this is now part of this forked promise. I need this. to run in the end after this finishes over here. It doesn't matter though. Wouldn't that outright panic in Tokyo? No, in Tokyo you can block your, like, if you, I mean, what exactly? I mean, this is like spawning a blocking thing, right? Yeah, and this is supposed to be the async thing. Well, I mean, yeah, this is the not typed at all in OCaml here in this library at least, because the effect system in OCaml is untyped. Domain manager is async, so you would call it immediately. What do you mean? Domain manager runs the function in a newly created domain and returns the result. So it's waiting for the function to complete. It's not returning immediately. Other fibers in the calling domain can run in parallel with the new domain, right? So this is actually spawning but like a new thread for me. This over here is going to run in a new thread. And we're waiting for the thread to complete. And after that, I'm doing this. So but this promise never completes is the problem. Let me see if over here, if this works here. Log info. Domain done. Log info 3. I'm out of ideas what to write there. Yeah, wait. So there's end of spawn, but I actually never return out of this function. Yeah. So I have executed this code, right? I have executed that code. This is finally, which means that this code has already been executed. This entire function is done, right? Function protect, like this thing over here. Log info, done inside domain. There is no done inside domain, which makes actually absolutely no sense. Why not? I just have a function which... So the only thing that I'm doing here, the only thing between this log and this log is this line, actually, which is assigning to a reference. None. The example was also without the fiber thingy. Yeah. Yeah. Like it turns this thing into a fiber, as I understand it. Like this is literally the alternative of the spawn blocking in Rust. Maybe I'm wrong though. Let's see here. Log info end of spawn 2. Let's see if I'm getting this far. I am getting that far. And then there is no need to wait, by the way, on the subsequent requests. Wait, there's just no waited. This never executes. So this function, this is literally the last statement in this function. So this function has finished. Domain manager run has finished the function. F must only access thread safe values from the calling domain, but it is not enforced in the type system. If the calling fiber is cancelled, this is propagated to the spawned domain. Is it being cancelled? Who is cancelling it? It makes no sense to me what's happening here. So this function run runs this in a newly created domain and returns the result. Where is my result? Let's say that the result is 1 to 3, right? And this is my result. It's over here. But it's not being calculated. It's not executing this code. Let's ask ChatGPT. I'm not getting to the result line. I'm stuck in the domain manager hell. This means the domain never returns. Or worse, it crashes silently and takes your dream with it. What is supposed to happen? You launch a function in a separate domain, wrapped with protect to clean up after it cleans. Oh, maybe it crashed actually? Maybe it actually crashed. Because I'm using finally here, right? Did it crash? I didn't see any exceptions though, right? In the logs. Wait a second. Hold on a second. It crashes. I know. I think I understand why. So I'm using the effects, right? But the effects are only present in the current stack. And over here, they are no longer present. You know what I mean? Like, I have an effect handler in the current domain, but in this domain, I don't have the effects. And I just have unhandled effect happening here. Let's say try with exception. Print exception. How do I print an exception? Print string exception log error. Domain panic. Pretty sure that's what's happening then. How do I fix it though? Domain panic. Yeah, we have the unhandled effect, a region of the source code. That's right. Yeah. Right, Alex. Hello. You're starting playing Marathon 600. Nice. I'm currently addicted to coding, although I'm about to rage quit coding altogether and go back to Factorio because of this stupid OCaml here. Alright. Hold on. Why are we wasting time writing code when you could spend time researching potential languages for the next rewrite? Indeed. Indeed. So what's happening here is basically... So let me just try to minimize the problem that I have. Here's the minimized problem, right? I have something like this. You know, I'm using the effect system of the OCaml to like drive certain parts of the language, right? So I'm calling function f, which is actually effectful function. So we say try function f, you know, with handling effect some cast effect, you know. So like I'm actually handling this, right? But if I call this function f using EIO like domain manager like run, right? Then this function is called from a different domain which doesn't have access to this effect handler. So this function doesn't know how to handle this effect anymore, even although the code that this function is written in has it. How do I fix it though? Like I'm not expected to like copy paste all of the effect handlers here, right? I don't even have access to the effect handler. I cannot try catch like okay, so I need effect handling throughout the domains. So the exception is actually unhandled effect. How do I propagate my effect handler to domain manager run? What language? This is OCaml. OCaml. I'm making my own programming language. This is the rewrite number 3. I've started it in OCaml when I was trying it for the first time. Then I was rewriting it in Rust, and now I'm back to OCaml because Rust was compiling too slowly. You're trying to handle an effect in your main fiber and then spawn it into the new domain where the handler doesn't exist anymore. Yes. The handlers in OCaml are thread local, domain local. When you run this, you start a new domain. The handler is not automatically transferred into it. This is by design. Effects and their continuations are not safe across domains unless you do work. The fix: manually install the new handler. Yes, I mean, this is understandable fix, but wrap the domain function with your effect handler. You only know C++. What about the Haskell rewrite? Isn't that what headers are for? Wait, what headers are for? No, C++ doesn't have the effect system, so I don't know like how to explain to you what this is. But in short, it's like a resumable exception. I know what a header file is in C++. No. It's a different thing. A handler is more like what I want here. What's lost is the is like the catch of the exceptions. So yeah, like in C++, if you run code like this, you say like try do some function and then you catch exception, right? Or whatever is the syntax there, right? If you do this, and then so this was working, right? And now I want this to be spawned basically in a new thread. So you say like spawn thread, and inside of the thread you call this function, right? using like a lambda or something. Whatever the syntax was for that in C++. So so this thread doesn't have access to this try catch anymore, right? So the exception that is going to be thrown here is going to be unhandled. So kind of similar thing is happening for the effects to me. Which means that I need to surround this in all of the try catches, but all of these try catches are potentially in different places, right? On like in the call stack. I mean, there's not that many of them, at least right now. I know what there are. This is the full list. This is all the handlers. We can read a source file. We can find standard library. We can do this. We can do that. We can do that. But I actually want that to be passed through the threads. Are you getting JDK extension recommendation? Is it because of the try catch? Yeah, maybe yeah, when I started typing the try catch there, it started highlighting. Yeah, this is detected as Java now. That's why. Oh my god, this is so okay. Okay, I need to not use a thread then, and stick to the async stuff, maybe. But then, like, because this is like actually a blocking operation once again, right? I need to rewrite it to be not blocking anymore. I need to insert the yielding points for that to work properly, right? Now I'm wondering what is going to happen in the other languages with the effect systems, like because we need the if like I want to spawn a thread and I want to keep my effect handlers next to right in Java. It has checked exceptions and compiles fast. Java does not compile fast. At least not in my experience. We use Java. Compiles slower than OCaml for sure. Maybe like it's faster than Rust though. C++ is the fastest. No, C++ is one of the slowest ones to compile. We're talking about compilation times, not about runtime. Runtime wise, C++, Rust, sure. But I would rather Rust than C++, of course. But I stopped using Rust because it was compiling too slowly. Too much of a C++ fanboy? It's fine. It's fine. Do you know other languages though? How can you be a fanboy of C++ if it's the only language that you know, though, right? In order to make sure that it's the best language, you need to try the others. Let's learn Python and Java. They are big too. Yeah. Yeah, learn all the things. I don't know how to solve this. So I see, right now I see two solutions. One of the solution is to not use threads, not to use domains, but make this to be a syncify. Make sure that it's actually not blocking the current fiber, right, or whatever, by inserting yield points inside the compiler and interpreter. So if it runs for a long time, it has a chance to give other fibers for the other fibers to work a little bit, right? To insert the yield points. That sounds like a pain though, right? So probably not a good idea. The other idea, the other obvious fix, is to reinstall all of the handlers here. But the handlers for the effects that I have, they are in all the places. Do we need to EIO-ify the whole source code? Yeah, I don't want to, I don't want the entire source code to depend on the EIO. I'm okay with, the language server depending on the EIO, and the other parts are just, standalone. Completely. I don't want that. Anyway, what am I even trying to spawn? Let's just see this here. We have spawn, right? We have spawn. We have spawn. I mean, I literally just need to copy paste my main. This is it. This over here is it. This is the handlers for all of the effects that I need. Because and then these effects are also being overwritten somewhere inside of the language server as a library. So I do the same, this exact thing. I wrap the domain function with my effect handler, right? So that's what we want. We want to run the function while handling the effects. Okay. Fine, let's do that. Library. Cast. Yeah, making my own language. I'm having just a small trouble right now. Usually we move fast, but right now I'm fighting the language that I'm using a little bit. I'm just going to have function handle effects, which has the unit into A and returns A like this. So it's a function f into try f with, and then all of the effects. So all of the effects are going to be the ones that I would do in the main. I'm going to actually move them from here. So yeah, main. So this should be cast as a library, right? Library cast handle effects main, like this. So all of these effects are just going to be handled over here. Right? Is that all? That's success. So, and then we'll use the same handle effects for the language server CLI. So this will also depend on the cast library. Maybe it will live in its own library, the effect handlers. So then when I spawn this, we say cast handle effects of this function. Okay. Function handle effects. Okay. Let's see if that works. Compiles, it compiles. Okay. There's something wrong here. I can format though, so it feels correct. The inlay hint is completely wrong though. This is showing this from the old state. Now this is also completely wrong. Wait, what? This is what's supposed to go to the standard error, but I got it in as the output of my formatter. That makes absolutely no sense. What? Is my standard error and standard output also changed in the when I spawn a new domain? Could not find this in scope. Like, this is like, why do I have error messages inside my code now? Okay, right now it works. Like, yeah, I see these error messages sometimes when they are not supposed to be there. Hold on, what is in my error handling? Log error, log error, log error, log error. Fail. As compiles too slow on my potato machine, let's switch to a camel instead. Gets weird IO errors and async is horribly documented. Not only async is horribly documented, the entire OCaml is horribly documented. But I'm not. Yeah. Unrelated question: do you think you'll do another playthrough? I don't know. Maybe at some point. I was going to do another Factorio run, but I don't know. They take so long. I want to work on these things, but at some point I will be burned out doing this, and I will come back to Factorio. I think is what is going to happen. Yeah, the usual Factorio coding break. Yeah, exactly. So right now this works, right? Right now it works. Then let's say that I say let x be 2. And it works. After 1 billion years, it actually works. After 1 billion years, this worked. Waited. Okay. Delete. I don't know what's happening anymore. You know what? I should stop. I should stop. But this is probably just a skill issue, right, guys? Just that I don't know how to write OCaml. There's just 50 lines of code here that I added that broke everything. Right? I can unbreak it real quickly by saying let's spawn function. I'm just going to call a function and it's going to state a result is equal to this. I'm just going to say that and then get latest result. I'm just going to return the result. Are there any other OCaml libraries? There is two, like, so I mean, I'm using this library because it's built onto because it's been used by the library that implements the language server protocol for me, right? So, and there is two backends for it. There's basically two main things for the async in OCaml. It's LWT and it is the EIO. So these are the two options. If I want to keep using the library for the LSP that I'm using, or I need to re-implement the LSP protocol and like all of that stuff myself, you know. So LWT is working not with the effects, but like with monads instead, as I understand it. EIO is based on the effects. That's the difference. Other than that, just writing this by myself. But if I want to spawn a thread, I will have the same problem, right? So it's not a problem with this library, right? I would have the same problem if I was trying to spawn a thread anyway. Even if I wasn't using async. Okay, let's just do this. So spawn and get latest result are going to be these ones, which is going to lead to the previous experience of the language server, right? Yeah, there we go. See, this is just how it was working before. It just slowly goes through all of the requests and then highlights it properly. And we don't get any weird things. I just super slow. Wait, can I compile OCaml with like release? OCaml compile release mode. Is there such a thing even? Maybe it's because I'm running it in debug build. Because I'm doing Dune build, Dune run something, right? OCaml opt all three. By default, the only real difference between dev and release profiles is that the former disables cross-module inlining, which makes compilation faster. It's often desirable to have this debug information in release binary, so Dune includes the information in the release profile. So like there is no difference anyway, right? This is the fastest that we would be going, basically. Okay, is there a profiler of this thing? What's actually happening? Is there a profiler for OCaml? Alright, I will save this as an attempt. Failed to debounce We'll call it debounce LSP requests. EIO trace. EIO trace. It's not about the EIO though, no. Not all of the things are using the trace, and mostly, well, I'm not using the trace actually. Right? Profile OCaml. Profiling. Speed. Why is OCaml fast? Step back and ask, is OCaml fast? Is it? I don't know. Whole world program. Tail recursion. Polymorphic types. Representation. That's not about profiling. This is just they're just talking about the implementation details here, right? That's not how you profile. You don't inspect assembly to profile, right? Give me a flame graph or something. Yeah, this one, gprof. I mean, just the same stuff that we use for profiling tools. There are two types of profiling you can do for OCaml programs. The execution counts for bytecode. You get real profiling for native code. Oh, wait, hold on. Am I actually doing the bytecode or native code? I'm just using the Dune exec, right? Cast. What is Dune exec is doing? Where's the search? Dune exec. Executable. No. ChatGPT is faster. When I Dune exec, that running in bytecode or native build. By default, Dune exec runs the native build, so it executes the natively compiled binary, not the bytecode version. I can explicitly build the bytecode version though. Profile. Anyway, get full profile for native code. OCaml problem before profiling to the bytecode. Yeah. So we can use perf on Linux. And so perf is installed. Compiled in the native like this. Using instrument on Mac OS. Okay. I never used it from the command line. I mean, I guess I could try to see. Maybe. Not right now though. Okay. I'm going to ignore all of the issues, and I'm going to forget about OCaml for today. We're going to the stream here. Boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 boom. Let's take a break from OCaml and go for the C++. Yes, C++. Look how good this looks. My life would be so much better if I used C++, right? Alright, thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.